Crystal chandeliers sparkled
You
above
saved my
Seoul's
son. I
elite
owe you
as they
everything.
clinked champagne
did what
glasses
a
in
mighty
Kang
nurse
Min-sok's
we-
private ballroom.
Your sacrifice humbled me. I'm
Politicians,
forever in your
businessmen,
debt.
and carefully
get him
vetted
better.
guests mingled, none daring to mention the violent empire that had paid for this opulence. Min-sok stood near the window, scanning the room with cold calculation. His 7-year-old son Jinwoo tugged at his sleeve. "Appa, I don't feel good." Min-sok barely glanced down. "Go sit with your nanny." "But Appa." "Not now, Jinwoo." The music continued. Conversations flowed. Then Junwoo's small body crumpled to the marble floor. The sound of his head hitting stone cut through the party like a knife. Silence crashed over the room. Min-sok spun around and saw his son convulsing, lips turning blue, eyes rolling back. "Junwoo!" He dropped to his knees, his perfect control shattered. Guests backed away. Someone screamed for a doctor. Min-sok's personal physician pushed through the crowd, checked the boy's pulse, and went pale. "We need a hospital. Now. He's going into shock. I don't have equipment for this." For the first time in 15 years, Kang Min-sok, the man who controlled half of Seoul's underground, felt completely powerless. His money, his power, his carefully constructed empire. None of it mattered. His son was dying, and he couldn't fix it. The nearest hospital was public. Min-sok hated everything about it: the fluorescent lights, the crowded waiting room, the smell of antiseptic mixed with fear. His security team tried to clear the emergency room, but there were too many people, too much chaos. "You can't just," a nurse started to protest. "Move," one of
Watch
his
and
men
learn,
growled.
son.
"Sir,
Okay,
we're
I
treating
will.
everyone in order. Your son will." "My son is dying." Min-sok's voice cracked with something unfamiliar: desperation. He carried Jinwoo through the doors himself, the boy's small body limp in his arms. His expensive suit was stained with sweat and panic. A doctor appeared, took one look at Jinwoo, and started barking orders. "Trauma 2, get me vitals, oxygen, and call for a pediatric specialist." "What happened?" "He collapsed, started seizing. He has asthma, but this is..." "We've got him. Sir, you need to step back." "I'm not leaving him." "Sir, you're in the way. Let us work." Min-sok stood frozen, watching strangers in scrubs surround his son. Machines beeped, voices overlapped. Medical jargon he didn't understand flew between staff members. His security team hovered uselessly. His money meant nothing here. His threats had no power. Junwoo's life was in the hands of overworked public hospital staff, and there was nothing Min-sok could do but watch and pray to a god he'd stopped believing in years ago. "Who's the attending?" A calm voice cut through the chaos. The medical team parted slightly, and Min-sok saw her for the first time. A black woman in navy scrubs, her hair pulled back in a professional bun, moved with quiet confidence toward Jinwoo. "Nurse Taylor, we've got..." "I can see what you've got. Vitals are dropping. He's hypoxic. Get me an ambu bag and prepare for intubation if necessary." She didn't look at Min-sok, didn't acknowledge the expensive suit or the dangerous men hovering nearby, just focused entirely on the small boy, struggling to breathe.
Stay calm,
"Step back,
just like we
please,"
practiced.
she said without
Yes,
looking
I will.
up.
Good.
One of
Let's go.
Min-sok's securities moved to protest. "Ma'am, you need to understand who." "I need to understand oxygen saturation, respiratory rate, and whether this child lives or dies. Everything else is irrelevant. Now, step back, or get out." Min-sok raised his hand. His men retreated. The nurse, Taylor, worked with practiced efficiency. Her hands were steady as she adjusted oxygen flow, monitored readings, gave instructions to other staff. "Talk to me about medical history. Asthma, you said. What medications? Any allergies?" Min-sok's mind went blank. He didn't know. Junwoo's nanny handled all of that. He was the boss of a criminal empire but didn't know his own son's medical information. I don't know," he whispered. Nurse Taylor glanced at him then, just once, no judgment in her eyes, just assessment. "Then let me do my job." And she did. For 10 minutes, Min-sok stood helplessly while Nurse Taylor and her team worked. Jinwoo's oxygen levels began stabilizing. His breathing became less labored. Color returned to his lips. "He's responding," Taylor said. "Good. Let's get him to pediatric ICU for monitoring." Min-sok tried to follow as they moved Jinwoo to a gurney. "Sir, family only past this point." "I'm his father." "Then you can wait in the ICU family room. We need space to work." "I need to see my son." His voice rose, that dangerous edge returning. People in the ER turned to look. Taylor stopped, turned, and looked at him directly. "Sir, if you want your son to survive the next hour, you'll let me do my job without interference." I understand you're scared. I understand you want to be with him. But right now, medical care takes priority over your feelings. You can see him once he's stable in ICU. Do you understand? No one talked to Kang Min-suk like that. No one. His men tensed, waiting for his response. Min-suk looked at this woman who'd just spoken to him like he was any other scared father, who'd completely dismissed his power and authority, who'd saved his son's life. I understand, he said quietly. Thank you. Taylor nodded and continued pushing the gurney toward the ICU. Min-suk stood in the hallway, surrounded by his security team, feeling smaller than he'd ever felt. Power meant nothing if you couldn't protect your own child. And this stranger had just done what all his money couldn't. 2 hours later, Min-suk sat in the ICU family waiting room. His security had been reduced to 2 men in the hallway, hospital policy. The rest waited outside. It was the first time in years he'd been anywhere without a full protection detail. A doctor appeared, looking exhausted. Mr. Kang, I'm Dr. Park, the pediatric specialist. Junwoo is stable, but we've discovered a complication. What complication? He's developed a severe reaction. We think it's related to an underlying condition we weren't aware of. His immune system is attacking itself. We need to do a procedure, but it requires a very specific blood match. His blood type is rare, AB negative with specific antigens. We're checking our blood bank, but what? We might not have a match in time. We've put out calls to other hospitals, but you need to understand, this is urgent. We have maybe 6 hours. 6 hours. Min-suk felt the walls closing in. Whatever it costs, get the blood. I'll pay anything. Contact every blood bank in the country, in Asia. Whatever it takes. Mr. Kang, this isn't about money. It's about biology. We need a specific genetic match.
Emergency, my
We're
child
doing
can't
everything
breathe.
we can,
This way,
but
sir.
you need to
Bring the
prepare
child here.
yourself for...
Please help him. On
No,
the stretcher
find
now.
it. There has to be someone. Dr. Park nodded tiredly and left. Min-suk sat back down, his head in his hands. For the first time since he was a child, he felt truly helpless. All his power, all his connections, all his wealth, useless. His son's life hung on biology and chance, and time was running out. Nurse Taylor appeared in the waiting room an hour later. She looked tired but steady. Mr. Kang, can I speak with you? He stood immediately. Is Junwoo? He's stable for now, but I've been told about the blood match issue. She paused. I asked them to test me. Min-suk blinked. What? I asked to be tested as a potential donor. My blood type is AB negative. It's rare, which is why I thought, anyway, the results came back. I'm a match. Not perfect, but close enough that it might work. You're volunteering to donate blood to my son? If the doctors approve it, yes. The procedure carries some risk. For me, I mean. It's not a simple blood donation. They'd need to extract specific components, which is more intensive. But Dr. Park thinks it could work. Why would you do that? You don't even know us. Taylor sat down, gesturing for him to do the same. Mr. Kang, I'm a nurse. I didn't get into this profession to help only people I know personally. Your son is a child who needs help. If I can provide that help, I will. It's that simple. It's not simple. You said there are risks. Minor ones. I'm healthy. I can handle it. Why? The question came out more forcefully than he intended. Why risk anything for a stranger? She looked at him with calm, steady eyes. Because that's what we do. Some of us anyway. We help when we can. We don't calculate cost or benefit. We just help. Now the doctors need your consent because Junwoo is a minor. Do you consent to the procedure using my donation? Min-suk stared at this woman who was offering to risk her health for his son. Yes. God, yes. Thank you. Min-suk wasn't allowed in the preparation room, but he watched through the window. Nurse Taylor sat calmly as medical staff prepped her, explaining the procedure, going through consent forms. Sir. One of his men approached. We've run a background check on the nurse. Amara Taylor, age 34, single mother, 1 daughter, age 8. Works here full-time and does private nursing on weekends. No criminal record. No. Stop. Min-suk held up his hand. I didn't ask for that. But sir, protocol. I said stop. Delete whatever information you gathered. She's saving my son's life. She deserves privacy. The guard looked confused but nodded. Through the window, Taylor met Min-suk's eyes. He stepped closer to the glass. She couldn't hear him, but he mouthed, "Thank you." She gave a small nod and lay back as they began the procedure. Dr. Park approached Min-suk. The extraction will take about 2 hours. Then we'll need another hour to prepare it for Junwoo. If all goes well, he should receive the treatment by midnight. What are the risks? To her? Dizziness, fatigue, possible infection. We'll monitor her carefully. She'll need to rest for at least 24 hours afterward. And if something goes wrong, then we deal with it. But Mr. Kang, Nurse Taylor volunteered knowing all the risks. She's one of our best. If anyone can handle this, she can. Min-seok watched her lying there, giving part of herself to save a stranger's child. He built an empire on the principle that everyone had a price.
Sir, you can't go in there.
That
But I need to
self-interest
see
drove
her.
all
It's
human
urgent.
behavior.
I understand,
This
but
woman
it's
was
against
proving him
protocol.
wrong. The waiting was agony. Min-seok paced the ICU hallway while lights flickered overhead and machines beeped their steady rhythms. His mind wandered to places he usually kept locked. He remembered the day Junwoo was born. Min-seok had been there for the delivery, had held his son for maybe 10 minutes. Then business called. A territory dispute that needed his personal attention. He'd left his wife, now his ex-wife, in the hospital and driven straight to a meeting that turned violent. He'd missed Junwoo's first night, told himself it was necessary, that providing security and wealth was how he showed love. When Junwoo was 3, Min-seok had missed his birthday party. Another emergency. Another crisis only he could handle. His son had cried. Min-seok had sent an expensive toy as an apology. When Junwoo was 5, he'd asked, "Appa, why are you never home?" Min-seok had said, "Because I'm building a future for you." But what future? An empire of fear? A legacy of violence? The boy didn't need billions hidden in offshore accounts. He needed a father. And Min-seok had failed at that. Failed so completely that he didn't even know his son's medical history. Mr. Kang? Dr. Park appeared, jolting him from his thoughts. The extraction was successful. We're preparing Junwoo for treatment now. Nurse Taylor is in recovery. She did well. Can I see her? Briefly. She needs rest. Min-seok found her in a recovery room, looking pale but alert. How is he? She asked immediately. They're preparing him now. You should rest. I'm fine, just tired. She tried to sit up and winced. Maybe a little dizzy. You saved my son's life. I did my job. It was more than a job. You risked yourself for a child you don't know. Why? Taylor closed her eyes. Because someone once did the same for my daughter. When she was 3, she needed surgery. A stranger in the hospital, a janitor, donated blood when supplies ran short. He didn't know us, just helped. I swore if I ever had the chance to pay that forward, I would. Today was that chance. Min-seok sat in Junwoo's ICU room watching his son sleep. The treatment had worked. Junwoo's vitals were stable, color returning to his face, breathing easy. A miracle performed by a stranger's selflessness. Appa? Junwoo's voice was weak but clear. Min-seok leaned forward. I'm here, son. I had scary dreams. I know, but you're safe now. You're going to be fine. The nice nurse, is she okay? She's resting. She helped you feel better. She was brave. I was scared, but she wasn't. She held my hand and told me stories about her daughter. She made me not scared anymore. Min-seok felt something crack inside his chest. A stranger had comforted his son while Min-seok stood outside, helpless. A stranger had held Junwoo's hand and eased his fear. She is brave. Min-seok agreed. Very brave. I don't want to go home. What? Why? Because home is big and empty and you're never there. Can we stay here? With the nice nurse? The words hit like bullets. His son preferred a hospital to their mansion, preferred a nurse's company to his own father's. Junwoo, I'm sorry. I haven't been there like I should, but that's gonna change. I promise. You always promise. The 7-year-old's voice was matter of fact, not accusing, just stating truth. And then you leave again. Not this time. This time I'm here, and I'm staying. Junwoo looked at him skeptically, but he took his father's hand, and for the first time in years, Min-seok understood what actually mattered. Not territory, not power, not fear or control or wealth. This small hand in his. This trust he'd almost lost forever. 3 days later, Junwoo was cleared to go home. Min-seok had barely left the hospital, conducting business via phone when necessary, but mostly just being present. His organization was in capable hands. For the first time, he realized he'd built a structure that could function without him. Maybe he'd been less essential than he'd thought. Nurse Taylor came to check on Junwoo one final time. She'd been working partial shifts, still recovering from the donation. Looks like someone's ready to go home, she said, smiling at Junwoo. Will you come visit me? Junwoo asked. I don't think that's possible, sweetie. I have to work here at the hospital. Please, you could meet my dog, and I could show you my toys. Taylor glanced at Min-suk, who stood awkwardly nearby. We'll see, but you need to rest at home and get strong, okay? After Jin-woo was settled in his wheelchair for discharge, Min-suk approached Taylor. I need to thank you properly. You've already thanked me. No, I mean, I want to offer you something. Anything. A new home, education for your daughter, a job with better pay. Mr. Kang, stop. Taylor's voice was firm but not unkind. I didn't save Jun-woo for payment. I understand that, but you have to let me. I don't have to let you do anything. I did what any nurse would do. What any decent person would do. If you want to thank me, go be a better father to that boy. That's all the thanks I need. She started to walk away. Wait, I don't understand. Everyone wants something. Everyone has a price. Taylor turned back. That's a sad way to see the world, Mr. Kang. Not everyone lives by transaction. Some of us just try to be good because it's right. Your son is going to be fine. Go home. Be with him. That's what matters. She left. Min-suk stood in the hallway, holding discharge papers, feeling like he'd just been schooled by the only person who'd ever refused his money. And he respected her for it. Back at the mansion, Min-suk tried to return to normal, but normal felt different now. The opulence felt excessive. The security felt paranoid. The emptiness felt empty. Jin-woo recovered quickly, filling the mansion with the energy of a 7-year-old who'd been given a second chance. He talked constantly about Miss Amara and how she'd made him brave. Appa, can we invite her for dinner? I don't think she'd come, son. Why not? Because she's very busy. She has her own daughter and her job, and you didn't ask her, did you? Junwoo's accusation was accurate. No, because you're scared she'll say no. I'm not scared of. Min-seok stopped. Was he scared? The man who'd built an empire on intimidation, scared of a nurse's rejection? Maybe I am, he admitted. So ask her. The worst she says is no. That's what you always tell me about trying new things. His 7-year-old son was teaching him courage. Min-seok called the hospital, asked for Nurse Taylor, was told she was off duty, called back the next day, same answer. Finally, on the 3rd day, she answered. Mr. Kang, is Junwoo all right? He's fine. Better than fine. But he's been asking about you. We'd like you to come to dinner, just to say thank you properly. Nothing more, I promise. Silence on the line. Then, Mr. Kang, I appreciate the invitation, but I don't think, please, one dinner. Junwoo won't stop asking, and I'd like to thank you face to face, in a setting that isn't a hospital, no obligations, no expectations, just gratitude. More silence. One dinner, at a restaurant, neutral ground, and I'm bringing my daughter. Of course, whatever you're comfortable with. Friday evening, 6 p.m., text me the location. She hung up. Min-suk realized he was smiling. Min-suk chose a family restaurant, not the exclusive places he usually frequented, but somewhere comfortable for children. Junwoo was excited all week, asking repeatedly if Miss Amara was really coming. Friday arrived. Min-suk dressed carefully, not the expensive suits that screamed power, but casual clothes that said normal father. Junwoo wore his favorite shirt. Amara arrived exactly at 6 with her daughter, a bright-eyed 8-year-old named Zoe, who immediately started chatting with Junwoo about school and favorite cartoons. Thank you for coming, Min-seok said. Thank you for choosing somewhere normal. I was worried you'd pick some place with tablecloths that cost more than my car. She smiled, and Min-suk realized it was the first time he'd seen her truly relax. Over dinner, the children talked and laughed. Amara told stories about the hospital, funny ones, not dramatic ones. Min-suk found himself laughing too, something he couldn't remember doing in months. Junwoo says you run a business, Amara said carefully. What kind? Import and export, Min-suk said, which was technically true. It's complicated, boring really. But it keeps you busy, away from home a lot? Yes, too much. I'm trying to change that. Good, he needs you. Kids always do. What about Zoe's father? Not in the picture. Left when she was a baby. It's been just us for a long time. That must be hard, working full-time, raising a child alone. It is, but we manage. We don't have much, but we have each other. That's what matters. Her words echoed in Min-suk's mind. He had everything, wealth, power, property. But until recently he hadn't had the one thing that actually mattered, connection with his son. You're a remarkable woman, Min-suk said. I'm a tired woman with a good kid. That's all. No, you saved my son. You risked yourself without hesitation. You refused payment. You see the world differently than I do. How do you see it? As transactions, power dynamics, everyone wanting something. And how do I see it? As opportunities to help, to be good, to give without expecting return. It's foreign to me, but I'm trying to learn. Amara studied him. Why? Because I want to be someone my son can respect, can be proud of. Right now I'm not sure I am. After dinner, as they walked to their cars, Amara pulled Minsuk aside while the children ran ahead. Can I be honest with you? Please. I looked you up after the hospital. I know who you are. What you really do, the business you run. Minsuk felt his defenses rising. And you came to dinner anyway? I came for Junwoo. That child deserves a good father. I came to tell you directly, your son is incredible. Sweet, kind, curious. He hasn't been corrupted by your world yet, but he will be if you don't change. I'm trying. Are you? Really? Because from where I stand, you're a man who got scared when his son almost died. That's normal. That's human. But fear-driven change doesn't last. What happens when the fear fades? When everything goes back to normal? Will you still be the father he needs? I don't know, Minsuk admitted, but I want to be. Then here's some free advice. Your son doesn't need your money. He doesn't need your power or your protection or your empire. He needs you. Present. Engaged. Choosing him over business. Can you do that? I'm going to try. Trying isn't enough. You have to commit, because that boy loves you completely, despite everything. Despite your absences and broken promises. He loves you. Don't waste that. Don't take it for granted. Love like that is rare. She started walking toward her daughter. Minsuk caught her arm gently. You're right, about everything. I've been a terrible father. I built an empire but neglected the one thing that mattered. I can't change the past, but I can change the future. Starting now. Good, because you're running out of chances. Kids forgive, but they also remember. Make better memories. As he watched her drive away with Zoe, Minsuk felt something he hadn't felt in years. Accountability. Not to business partners or rival organizations. To himself, to his son, to the man he wanted to become. The following week, Minsuk called an emergency meeting with his top lieutenants. I'm restructuring our operations, he announced. His men looked confused. Restructuring how? We're going legitimate, completely. I'm done with the underground, done with violence, done with operations that require me to look over my shoulder every day. Sir, that's not possible. We have commitments, deals, territories. Find ways to exit them cleanly. Pay off contracts, transfer territories. I don't care what it costs. I want out. But why? We're more powerful now than ever. You control. I don't want to control anything anymore except my own life. My son almost died. I sat in a hospital helpless while a nurse I'd never met saved him. A nurse who works double shifts to support her daughter. A nurse who has nothing but gives everything. And I realized I've been living wrong, building wrong, prioritizing wrong. The room was silent. I'm not asking permission, is that Minsuk continued. I'm telling you, this organization is going legitimate. Anyone who can't accept that can leave with generous severance. Anyone who stays commits to the new direction. We have 6 months to complete the transition. Start making plans. After they left, Minsuk sat alone in his office. The decision would cost him. Probably millions. Possibly his life if rivals saw it as weakness. But for the first time in 15 years, he felt free. Free of the constant violence. Free of the fear. Free of the man he'd been forced to become to survive. He thought of Amara's words. Your son doesn't need your power. He needs you. She was right. And he was done building empires. He wanted to build a relationship instead. Minsuk started small. He picked Junwoo up from school personally. Not the driver, not a bodyguard. Him. Junwoo's face when he saw his father waiting was worth more than any business deal. Appa, you came? I came, and I'm gonna come every day from now on. Really? Really, no more broken promises. I'm here now. They went for ice cream. Played at the park. Normal father-son activities that Minsuk had never made time for before. Appa, you're different, Junwoo said one afternoon. Different how? You smile more. You're not always on your phone. You ask about my day and actually listen. I'm sorry I wasn't like this before. I thought I was protecting you by being busy, by making money. But I was wrong. Miss Amara said you'd figure it out eventually. You talk about her a lot. You really like her, don't you? She's nice, and she makes things less scary. Like that night at the hospital, I was so scared. But she held my hand and told me about her daughter and how brave I was being. She made me feel brave. She is special. She saw me at my worst, panicked and helpless, and she just focused on saving you. She didn't care about who I was or what I could give her, just about helping a child. Do you like her, Appa? I respect her very much. That's not what I asked. Junwoo smiled mischievously. You like her, I can tell. Minsuk laughed. Maybe I do, but it doesn't matter. She has her life, we have ours. But we could ask her to be part of ours. She and Zoe could come live with us. We have so much space. It's not that simple, son. She's independent, proud, she doesn't need us. As maybe she doesn't need our stuff, but maybe she'd like our company. Like how I like her company. It's not about needing, it's about wanting. His 7-year-old was wise beyond his years. You might be right, but I don't want to pressure her. She's already given us so much. Then we should give back, not money or things, time and care. That's what Miss Amara values. Minsuk pulled his son close. When did you get so smart? I learned from the best nurse in the world. Minsuk's decision to go legitimate didn't go unnoticed. Rivals sensed weakness. One in particular, Song Ji-hoon, decided to test Minsuk's resolve. I heard Kang is going soft, Ji-hoon said to his lieutenants. The great crime boss wants to play legitimate businessman now. That means his territory is vulnerable. Should we move on it? Not yet. Let's apply pressure first. See if he's truly changed or if this is just temporary sentiment. They started small, interfering with Minsuk's business shipments, spreading rumors about his weakness, testing his boundaries. Minsuk's men brought him reports of each provocation. Sir, we need to respond. If we don't, others will see it as permission to challenge us. How would I have responded a year ago? Brutally, immediately. Send a message that couldn't be ignored. And what would that accomplish? It would restore fear, maintain power, keep everyone in line. For how long? Until the next challenge? The next threat? I've been living that way for 15 years. It's exhausting, it's empty, and it's not the example I want to set for my son. So what do? We respond legally. If they're interfering with shipments, we document it and pursue legal action. If they're spreading rumors, we counter with truth. We don't escalate violence, we elevate our position. They'll think you're weak. Let them think what they want. I know the difference between weakness and wisdom. Wisdom is choosing not to fight battles that don't matter. My son matters. Building a legitimate future matters. Song Ji-hoon's opinion doesn't. But Ji-hoon wasn't satisfied with small provocations. He decided to send a clearer message. The invitation came as a formal dinner request. Song Ji-hoon wanted to discuss business opportunities with Minsuk. It was obviously a test, possibly a trap. Don't go, his security chief advised. It's too dangerous. He's testing your resolve. I know, that's why I have to go. If I refuse, I look scared. If I go, I demonstrate confidence. At least take a full security detail. No, minimal presence. I'm not going to war. I'm going to dinner. Amara had given Minsuk her phone number in case of emergency. That evening, he found himself calling her. Is Junwoo okay? She answered immediately. He's fine, I'm sorry, this isn't an emergency. I needed to talk to someone. Someone who sees the world differently than I do. What's wrong? I'm going to a meeting tomorrow, with someone who wants to test me, to see if I've really changed or if I'm just pretending. And I'm scared, not of violence. I can handle that. I'm scared I'll revert, that when pushed, I'll become the man I used to be. Then don't. Choose to be different. It's not that simple. In my world, showing restraint is seen as weakness. Weakness invites attack. In the real world, showing restraint is called maturity, wisdom, strength. Only weak people need violence to solve problems. Strong people find other ways. You make it sound easy. It's not easy, but it's right. And you need to decide, what kind of man do you want to be? What kind of example do you want to set for Junwoo? I want to be someone he can be proud of. Someone who doesn't rule through fear. Then be that man. Tomorrow, when it's hard, when reverting would be easier. Be the man you want to be, not the man you were. After they hung up, Minsuk sat in silence. He'd faced down dangerous men without fear. But this call, asking for guidance from a nurse who had no stake in his world, that took courage. The dinner was tense. Ji-hoon sat across from Minsuk in an expensive restaurant, pretending civility. I hear you're changing your business model, Ji-hoon said, pursuing legitimacy. Admirable. It's necessary, for my son, for my future. Your son, yes, I heard about his hospitalization. Fortunate that nurse was there. Amara Taylor, wasn't it? Single mother, works at Seoul Central. Interesting woman. The mention of Amara's name made Min-suk's blood run cold. Leave her out of this. Out of what? I'm just making conversation, noting how much your life has changed. New priorities, new vulnerabilities. She's not a vulnerability. No? Then why did your expression just change? Why did your jaw just tighten? We both know how this works, Min-suk. You have something to lose now. That makes you weak. Or it makes me dangerous, because now I have something worth protecting. Before, I had nothing to lose. Now I do. That doesn't make me weak. It makes me focused. On what? That nurse? That child? You think they'll protect you when I come for your territory? I think you'll find that attacking me now is the worst decision you could make. I'm not bound by the old rules anymore. I'm not playing the same game. If you come for me, I'll respond not with violence but with law, with public exposure, with every legal tool I've spent the last 6 months learning to use. You want a war? I'll give you one. Just not the kind you're expecting. Ji-hoon laughed. You're bluffing. You can't have changed that much. Try me. The two men stared at each other. Finally, Ji-hoon stood. This isn't over. No, but it's going to end differently than you expect. After Ji-hoon left, Min-suk's hands shook. Not from fear, from restraint. The old him would have eliminated the threat immediately. The new him had to trust in a different kind of strength. He texted Amara. I stayed calm, didn't revert. It was harder than any fight I've ever been in. She responded, that's because you're growing. Growth is painful, but you did it. Your son would be proud. He smiled. He hoped she was right. Over the following months, Min-suk systematically dismantled his criminal empire and built something legitimate. Real estate, import-export companies running actual legal goods, technology investments. It was slower than his old business, less immediately profitable, but cleaner, safer, sustainable. Junwoo thrived. His father was present for school plays, parent-teacher conferences, soccer games. The boy who'd once seemed quiet and withdrawn now laughed constantly. Thank you, Min-suk told Amara one afternoon. They'd started having coffee occasionally, just two parents sharing experiences. For what? For showing me what actually matters, for saving my son, for teaching me how to be human again. You were always human, you'd just forgotten. Maybe. But you reminded me, and I'll never be able to repay that. I don't want repayment, I just want Junwoo to have a good life, and I think he will. You've changed, Min-suk. Really changed. I'm trying. Some days are harder than others, the old instincts don't disappear, but I have something now that I didn't before. What's that? A reason to be better. Junwoo, you, the future I'm building, it's worth more than any empire. Amara smiled. Good, because I have to confess something. What? I'm falling for you. Not the crime boss, not the powerful businessman. Just you, the father who picks up his son from school, the man who calls when he's scared, the person who's choosing to grow. That man, I could see a future with. Min-suk felt his heart race. Really? Really, if you're interested, no pressure. I just thought you should know. I'm very interested, have been for months. I just didn't think I deserved you. You don't. Not yet, but you're working on becoming someone who does. That's enough for me. 6 months later, Min-suk stood in a park watching Junwoo and Zoe play together. They'd become inseparable, like siblings, though neither knew yet what Min-suk and Amara were planning. Amara stood beside him, her hand in his. Happy? She asked. More than I've been in my entire life. I have my son, I have you, I have a business I'm not ashamed of.
I appreciate
have a future
you being
that
here.
doesn't involve looking over my shoulder
You know
constantly.
I'm always here for you.
You earned it, the change, the peace. It wasn't easy. No, but you made it possible. You saw something in me that I'd forgotten existed. Humanity, compassion, the ability to be more than just power and fear. You saved yourself. I just gave you a reason to try. Junwoo ran over, breathless and happy. Appa, Zoe and I want to go on the swings. Will you push us? Of course. As they walked toward the swings, Min-suk thought about how far he'd come. From a man who controlled through fear, to a father pushing swings in a park. From someone who saw the world as transactions, to someone who understood the value of freely given love. The strongest person in his life had never been him. It had been Amara. A single mother, working double shifts, who'd risked herself for a stranger's child, who'd refused payment and demanded only that he become a better father, who'd shown him that true power wasn't control, it was sacrifice. Kindness, love given without expectation of return. He'd been humbled, broken down, rebuilt, and he was grateful for every moment. Because sometimes being brought to your knees is the only way to learn how to stand correctly. "Higher, Appa," Junwoo shouted from the swing. "Be careful," Amara called, laughing. Minsuk pushed his son higher, listening to the boy's delighted screams, and he realized this was everything. This was what he'd been searching for through 15 years of violence and power. Not control, connection, not fear.
There you go.
Love.
All set.
A nurse had
Thanks.
saved his
You're
son,
welcome,
but in
champ.
doing so
Ready?
she'd saved
Yeah.
him too.